How's it going? Roman here with Roman Venture Solutions, and today I want to talk to you guys about the basics of wilderness survival. Specifically, we're going to talk about first aid while traveling, what to do if you get lost, and how to meet your basic needs such as food and water. Survival medicine is a lot like regular first aid, but the thing you have to think about is you never know when you're going to get to any type of permanent care. So you have to think about long-term survival. So if you have any type of break, strain, or sprain, you don't know what's actually wrong with you unless you see the bone sticking out. And even then, you're gonna treat them all the same. If it is a injury with the bone, you're gonna splint the joint above it and below it. If it's an injury with the joint, you're going to splint the bone above and below. What you want to do is prevent the injured area from moving at all. So make sure that you have good sturdy material, whether it's branches or any type of firm material. Make sure you're padding that so it's not digging into your skin, and then actually connect that to your body in a comfortable position the way it lies, and then make sure that it's not moving anymore. If it's your arm, you can make a sling and actually connect that to your body. If you don't have anything like that, if you have a jacket or something like that, you can actually just take your arm, put it in your jacket, and that's going to act as a makeshift sling. Just make sure you protect it from bumping into things or moving around too much to avoid any further injury. If you have any type of major bleeder, and I'm not talking like a little paper cut or something like that, realistically, if there's any type of cut, you definitely still need to treat it, because depending on how long you're out in the wilderness, that could lead to an infection, which could become a much bigger problem. But if you have a larger cut, whether it's a venous or arterial bleeder, you're going to have to treat that sooner rather than later. Ideally, you packed, again, proper prior preparation, you have a good med kit. If it's a major bleeder and it's bleeding a lot, first thing it's going to do is direct pressure. So you're going to take your hand and just cover over wherever the affected area. Direct pressure, next step is going to be elevation. Get that above the position of your heart. That's going to help slow the blood flow down as well. From there, if you're by yourself, you're going to have to do these steps a little differently. If you're with other people, they can help you. They can provide the direct pressure and the elevation, while another person could be applying a pressure point. No matter where you are, whether it's your arm or your leg, on the inside is going to be a pressure point you push in. It's going to collapse that the artery and slow down that blood flow a little bit more. Once you got that going, get out your med kit. Get out some type of cleaning solution, whether it's alcohol or antibacterial, whatever. Clean the area, and then get some type of clean, dry, sterile dressing that you can put over the wound. I'm not going to crack this open just for this video, but I'm going to crack open a clean, sterile dressing. I'm going to pack it on that wound and hold direct pressure as tight as possible. From there, I'm going to get something to wrap around it and then tie the knot directly over where the wound is, and that should slow down the bleeding. If you do all that and it's still bleeding really bad, you can go to a tourniquet. So this is just an actual manufactured tourniquet, but you can use pretty much anything that's wider than an inch. It's important to make sure you're using something wide. If you're using a piece of string or 550 cord, it could actually cut into your skin and actually make even more damage. So a wide material. This is where survival medicine is a little bit different than regular first aid. Regular first aid, you're going to put it above a major joint, because that's going to ensure that you cut off that blood flow. Survival medicine, if you don't know when you're going to get assistance, you might want to put it about an inch or two above the wound in order to make sure that you're preserving as much of that limb as possible. Just in case you don't get recovery for a long time and you have to lose that lower limb, I can do a lot more with this joint than I can with this joint. As far as bites are concerned, if it's insect bites or anything like that, hopefully you have some type of antiseptic wipe and you can just kind of wipe it down. Hopefully you're not allergic. If you are, hopefully you brought the proper meds. Again, that goes back to the proper prior preparation prevents piss poor performance. Making sure you have all the medication that you need before you go on any type of trip. The main bites that we're concerned about while in the wilderness is some type of snake bite, specifically venomous snake bite. Not poisonous, two different things, know the difference. So a venomous snake bite, if you get bit, is almost always going to be in the lower leg, unless you're stupid like me and you're trying to grab for them, then it's probably going to be in your hand or lower arm. Either way, what you want to do is expose the area, and then preferably, you brought with you a little first aid kit. Inside there is going to be alcohol wipes, antiseptic wipes, possibly soap. You want to make sure you clean the area as well as possible, dress up the area, and then depending on what's going on, you could even put a pressure bandage on. What that's going to do is going to be a bandage above the wound, between the bite wound and your heart, that's going to slow the blood flow down. What that's going to do is going to make sure that the venom is actually not going to pulse through your body that quickly, and hopefully you can get to permanent care sooner rather than later. Another thing to make sure that you're trying to do in order to stay safe is it sounds ridiculous and counterintuitive, but try to stay calm. If you get bit by a venomous creature, if you can stay calm and keep your heart rate down, is going to allow that venom to slowly circulate through your body instead of pumping quickly through and affecting your entire system at once. If you ever get lost, it's very important to just stay put. The more you travel, the more you move, the harder it's going to be to find you, and the more likely are you to get more lost and possibly injured. So if you're out and people know where you are and where you're traveling to, the best thing to do is just stay put. Ideally, if you were prepared beforehand, you brought with you some type of high visibility material. This is just a waterproof pack cover that I have, so I can put it on whenever it's starting to rain, but if I needed to, I could string this up at about eye level, so as people are walking around, they can see it. If I'm in a denser area, maybe I can go out to an open field or something and try to lay this out, or find some other type of contrasting material. Additionally, every time I travel, I bring a whistle with me. I know it seems ridiculous, but honestly, a whistle actually reverberates through nature very, very well. Also, by blowing on a whistle, you're not going to wear your vocal cords. You're going to be able to blow a whistle a lot longer than you're going to be able to yell for help. So a whistle is a must-have in any type of emergency situation. Another thing that I have is, with my compass, I have a mirror. So I can use my signal mirror to reflect the sun back to any type of airborne assets that might be looking for me, or if I can see people over a ridge or down in a valley, same exact thing. I can reflect the sun and use that in order to signal my location. An important thing to do is, before you go on any trip, is to make sure that people know where you're going, how long you're going to be gone, and approximately when you're coming back. That way, if you're gone too long, they know to start looking for you or calling out a search party or something like that. And that's the point of, if you get lost, stay put. Somebody will come looking for you, but that's only going to happen if you told people where you're going and when you're coming back. That is a priority for any type of situation you're going to find yourself in. If you go out traveling, have a good plan. Tell somebody your plan, and then have an emergency plan that if you're not back in X amount of hours or by X day, they start looking for you or start sending out a search party. A principle we went by in the military is, proper prior preparation prevents piss poor performance. So before you go do anything, make sure you're prepared for any type of emergency situation. Out in the wilderness, it's always important to be prepared. So bringing all the food and water that you need for your trip, and then some. Always bring more than you think you're going to need, because you're always going to need more than you think. If you find yourself out lost in the woods, though, it's always important to know how to meet your needs if you don't have that stuff available. So understanding the flora and fauna that's in your local area, or the area that you're traveling in, is going to be ideal. So here, I'm in Central Florida. We have wild grape right here. I can actually eat these leaves right here. They're not too bad, pretty nutritious, and the right time of year, I'll actually have grapes growing on these vines as well. Down here, I have fern. By the water source, I have fern. These are not very delicious. If I get the young fern, what's called a fiddlehead fern, where they're kind of curled up and there's new growth, I pop those off, and those are actually very delicious. Anytime you're down near a water source, you're gonna find a lot more luscious and green vegetation that you can eat. It's important to make sure you do not eat anything you cannot positively identify. Most people can identify dandelions and cattails. Those two things are edible and found all over the world. Segmented grasses are also pretty much any grass that you see growing around, like your yard and stuff like that. That's segmented grasses, where it grows up in segments. Those are all edible as well. So when people starve to death out in the woods, it makes no sense to me, because you could pretty much eat anything that you see. But just make sure you don't eat anything you cannot positively identify. Along with that, it's important not to eat unless you have water available. So as you see behind me, we have a really nasty, low-lying water swamp area. This is going to be a good example of what you can get water from, because everybody knows you can get water from a nice flowing stream, that a rainbow is coming over the top and a nice deer is prancing over it. That looks gorgeous. It looks like water you want to drink. This does not look like water you want to drink, but you can still drink it. Kind of like what I was saying with the wound care. If you get a t-shirt, sock, underwear, again, clean, you can actually take this water, pour it through there, and the water will filter through, leaving all the nasty stuff behind. Now, that does not make it purified, it just filters out the large chunks. From there, you still have to purify the water, whether it's through chemical means like bleach or iodine, or physical means like an actual filtration pump, or you can heat it and bring it to a rolling boil for a minute, and that will kill all the bacteria in there. It's very important to make sure that you have water. That is the most important thing in a survival situation. Once you have water, you can look for food. Once you have both of those, you can survive for as long as you want. Along with plants, you can also eat any insect, any true insect. That is a insect that's a bug with 6 legs, no more, no less. So crickets, beetles, ants, grasshoppers, locusts, that type of stuff you can eat. Where are you gonna find those? Well, you can't find them just like walking through a big open grass field. A lot of times people will actually take like a large tarp or a poncho and just walk through a field, and grasshoppers will just jump onto that tarp, and then they can ball it up, and then they have a sack lunch. If you're having a hard time finding things in the nature, you can just come over to any type of rock or log, and there's always going to be something living underneath there. There's a whole bunch of ants right there. Boom. They are fast and hard to catch. Once you do, oh, come on. These ones, because we're in Florida, are fire ants. So you have to make sure you bite them before they bite you. You get that?
Yep, that's it.
All right, so a lot of times what I'll do is I'll actually smash their head first. Eek! I know it seems weird, but they taste like lemon drops. They're like sweet and sour at the same time. Now, I have done it before where I wasn't paying attention. I accidentally smashed their butt instead of their head. And when I went to go eat it, it bit my lip, and then my lip swelled up because it got bit by a fire ant. So make sure if you're gonna eat anything that could possibly be venomous, take care of its venom first and then eat it. Again, this is Roman with Roman Venture Solutions. I hope you have fun while you're out there exploring the wilderness, and until next time, venture on.